It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.
Hey guys, my name is Taylor and the world is in trouble. Let's talk about that. For my English 12 class, we decided to make a global warming project mostly centered around glaciers, but I'm going to be talking about a wide variety of things today in this video. So, let's start with my trip to Stewart and Hyder. The ride to our first hotel, Beltu Lodge, is roughly a 3.5-hour drive where we viewed various areas of deforestation, construction, and pollution. In the summer of 2018, several forest fires devastated British Columbia and other areas of Canada as we experienced one of the hottest seasons of Canadian history. Beltu Lodge is a resort mostly visited in the winter because of its proximity to the snowy mountains and hell skiing activities. It heavily relies on Bear and Salmon Glacier for the skiing expeditions and salmon fishing in the summertime. In the picture shown, you can see that Bear Glacier was much farther forward in 1993 than the picture I took in 2019, and even extended up onto the highway in the 1960s. Global warming is largely responsible for glaciers melting earlier and faster in the year, causing ocean levels to rise at a rate of 3.42 millimeters a year. So, how does this connect to a wider picture? Let's start with the impact of CO2 on the environment. CO2 is a greenhouse gas that helps warm the Earth, and in recent years has accounted for nearly 85% of all greenhouse gas emissions. As this amount increases, excess amounts of other greenhouse gases begin to trap additional heat in the biosphere, which leads to melting ice caps and rising ocean levels. Glaciers, which are one of the main aquatic resources that have begun to melt, account for 70% of the Earth's fresh water, and are estimated to create a 50% increase of CO2 over the next 35 years as they melt. The release of more CO2 also proves bad for our overall health, like respiratory problems and stroke. Fossil fuel pollutants can create solid particles in the air that can enter our lungs and bloodstream. These particles, particulate matter, can aggravate asthma, decrease lung function, and increase the risk of cardiovascular problems and stroke. As the planet warms up, an increase in forest fires occurs as well, emitting tons of toxic smoke into the air that we are then breathing in. This bodes well as pollen, as CO2 increase in the atmosphere encourages plants to produce more pollen during allergy season. CO2 isn't the only thing we have to worry about harming us, though. As the Earth warms up, we also have to be concerned about an increase in insect-carried diseases, contaminated water supply, and dangerous bacteria. We're creating the perfect biosphere for insects to breed and thrive in. These insects include mosquitoes, which carry dengue fever and West Nile virus, and experts are now concerned about a resurgence in malaria in the United States, as well as seeing a rise in Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever. In regards to water and bacteria, Dr. Mona Safardi, the director of a program on climate and health, says that when increased rainfall leads to flooding, there can be a mixing of stormwater and sewage that leads to bacterial contamination in the water. This water can be absorbed by food products as well, leading to foodborne illnesses. Warmer oceans also have an increased bacteria count as they grow quickly in shellfish. So you might be asking yourself, what is the government doing about this blatant threat to humanity? Let's run some statistics. 45% of Canada's greenhouse gas emissions come from industrialism, 25% from transport, 13% from forestry, and an equal 11% between electricity and building and homes. To help with our severe industrial problem, Canada is reducing methane in oils and gas by 40 to 45%, implementing new, cleaner fuel standards, improving the energy efficiency throughout the industry, and pricing industrial emissions. To help decrease emissions caused by transport, the government has invested in the deployment of electric vehicle charging stations to encourage their use, developing cleaner fuels for all vehicles, and creating stricter vehicle emission standards. As our ecosystem has noticeably depleted, Canada has begun to help reduce forestry by supporting renewable fuels and products, developing cleaner and more efficient agricultural practices, reforestation, and reducing plastic pollution. The government has begun to rid emissions from coal-fired electricity and encourage rural communities to decrease their reliance on diesel fuel to help with the electricity problem, and has begun to change house regulations to improve energy efficiency for both new and existing buildings, as well as attempting to rid refrigerators and air conditioning appliances of hydrofluorocarbons. Now, after that terrifying spiel of facts, how can you help? 1. Waste less food. Methane is one of the leading greenhouse gases that is destroying our ozone layer, and it is emitted in higher quantities. A big factor to the release of methane is spoiled food rotting and creating methane. One of the ways we can begin to help this problem without joining a large organization or spending large amounts of money is to waste less food. Only buying perishable items when needed is a surefire way of reducing the methane problem, even by lower standards. Number 2, know where you get your meat. Factories that farm and sell meat feed their cows grains that their digestive systems aren't used to getting naturally, and therefore produce more methane. A good way to reduce these emissions is to do research on where your meat is coming from and if they feed their cattle a natural diet. And number 3, consume less energy and water. Producing electricity involves burning fossil fuels, and with so much energy being used every day, we are quickly emitting a large amount of toxic fumes into our atmosphere. Switching your light bulbs to LED lights is one way to cut down on the amount of energy you use in everyday life. Several things in your daily life can be changed to reduce water usage as well, including taking shorter showers and only doing full loads of laundry and dishwashing. Well guys, that's the end of my video. I hope that you learned something while you were watching this. I hope that it gives you a new perspective on what's happening in our country and on the planet itself. I hope you take some of these tips, and I hope you try to become more planet efficient. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.